One of the most fascinating and often misunderstood changes that occurs after the age of 50 is the gradual decline of muscle mass. It does not arrive dramatically or suddenly. Instead, it unfolds quietly over the years, almost invisibly, as the body slowly adjusts its priorities. Scientists have long observed that beginning in midlife, the body naturally begins to lose small amounts of skeletal muscle each year. The fibers that once responded quickly to movement begin to thin. The powerful muscles that once supported effortless standing, climbing, and lifting become slightly less responsive. This process is not a disease. It is part of natural aging. Yet the remarkable truth is that the body remains highly adaptable, even later in life. And the signals we give it through movement determine how strong or weak those muscles remain. Walking, of course, has tremendous value. It supports circulation, gently stimulates the cardiovascular system, and keeps the joints moving. But from a biological perspective, walking does not place significant demand on many of the muscles responsible for strength and structural stability. The body becomes efficient at walking very quickly, which means the muscles do not receive the strong stimulus needed to maintain their full capacity. Over time, this lack of challenge sends a subtle message through the nervous system that certain muscles are no longer required at their previous strength. The body, always efficient, begins to conserve energy by allowing those muscle fibers to shrink. This is where a simple movement such as the chair squat becomes surprisingly powerful. At first glance, it appears almost too basic to matter. A person stands in front of a chair, lowers the body slowly until the hips touch the seat, and then rises again with control. Yet within this single motion, an entire network of muscles awakens. The quadriceps in the front of the thigh is engaged to control the descent. The gluteal muscles activate to generate the power needed to stand again. Deep stabilizing muscles in the abdomen and lower back quietly coordinate to keep the spine supported. Even the muscles around the hips and knees contribute to maintaining alignment and balance. What makes this movement so valuable for people over 50 is that it mimics one of the most important functional actions in everyday life: standing up from a seated position. This is a movement performed dozens of times each day without much thought, yet it relies heavily on muscle strength. When these muscles weaken, everyday independence begins to feel slightly more difficult. Rising from a chair requires more effort. Climbing stairs feels heavier. The body begins to move with caution rather than confidence. When chair squats are practiced regularly, even in small numbers, the body receives a clear biological message that these muscles are still essential. Muscle fibers respond to this signal by maintaining their structure and activity. Nerve pathways between the brain and muscles become more efficient. Blood flow increases to the working tissues, delivering oxygen and nutrients that support cellular repair. Over time, movements that once felt challenging begin to feel smoother and more controlled. There is also a deeper principle at work here, one that scientists often describe as use it or lose it. The human body continuously adapts to the demands placed upon it. When muscles are ignored, the body assumes they are no longer needed. When they are challenged thoughtfully and regularly, the body responds with preservation and even renewal. The chair squat becomes more than just an exercise. It becomes a conversation with the body, reminding it that strength, stability, and independence are still necessary parts of everyday life. Another subtle yet powerful change that unfolds with age involves the body's balance system, a system that many people rarely think about until it begins to weaken. In youth, balance feels almost automatic. We step over obstacles, turn quickly, and adjust our posture without conscious effort. The body performs these actions through an intricate collaboration between the brain, the inner ear, the eyes, and hundreds of small stabilizing muscles throughout the legs and core. These systems constantly exchange information, calculating where the body is in space and how it should respond to movement. With time, however, this communication can become slightly slower and less precise. The signals between nerves and muscles lose some of their speed, and the stabilizing muscles that once reacted instantly may grow weaker if they are not regularly challenged. Walking, although beneficial for overall activity, tends to follow a predictable pattern. The body moves forward in a rhythmic motion, repeating the same sequence of steps again and again. While this supports endurance and circulation, it does not significantly challenge the systems responsible for sudden adjustments or subtle shifts in posture. Life outside of exercise, however, rarely follows such a straight and predictable path. We reach for objects on a high shelf, step sideways to avoid something on the floor, turn our heads while carrying items, or shift weight unexpectedly when standing in place. Each of these moments requires the body to stabilize itself instantly. This is where the simple practice of standing on one leg becomes far more meaningful than it might initially appear. When a person gently lifts one foot off the ground and balances on the other, the body suddenly encounters a new situation. The base of support becomes smaller, and the nervous system must react quickly to maintain stability. The muscles around the ankle immediately begin making small adjustments. These muscles are often overlooked, yet they play a crucial role in maintaining balance. At the same time, the muscles around the hips activate to control the position of the pelvis, preventing the body from leaning or collapsing to one side. The core muscles also join this quiet effort. Deep stabilizing muscles in the abdomen and lower back subtly contract to keep the spine aligned over the standing leg. Meanwhile, the brain becomes more attentive to sensory signals arriving from the feet and joints. Tiny receptors within the muscles and tendons send information upward through the nervous system, telling the brain exactly how the body is shifting and how it must respond. This process strengthens something scientists call neuromuscular coordination. It is the body's ability to coordinate muscle actions with precise timing and control. As people age, maintaining this coordination becomes extremely important, because it directly influences how the body reacts to sudden disturbances. A strong balance system allows the body to recover quickly from a slip or unexpected movement, often preventing a fall before it even occurs. What makes this practice especially powerful is that improvement can happen surprisingly quickly. Even short periods of balancing, practiced consistently, encourage the nervous system to sharpen its communication pathways. The stabilizing muscles become more responsive, the brain grows more confident in interpreting sensory signals, and the body begins to trust its own ability to remain steady. Over time, this renewed coordination brings a sense of quiet confidence to everyday movements, allowing individuals to move through their environment with greater awareness and control. As the body moves through the decades of life, another subtle transformation begins to appear in the upper body. The shoulders, chest, and arms often become less active than they once were, especially in modern lifestyles where many daily tasks involve sitting, typing, or using handheld devices. The muscles responsible for pushing, lifting, stabilizing the upper body gradually lose some of their strength if they are not regularly engaged. This decline does not simply affect appearance or athletic performance. It influences posture, joint stability, and the body's ability to perform ordinary movements, such as pushing open a heavy door, rising from the floor, or supporting oneself during a small loss of balance. Walking, while excellent for the heart and lower body circulation, does very little to stimulate these upper body muscles. The arms move gently during walking, but the effort required is minimal. As a result, many important muscles around the chest, shoulders, and upper back remain underutilized. Over time, this can contribute to rounded shoulders, weakened joints, and a reduced sense of physical capability. Yet the body possesses an extraordinary ability to regain strength when the right type of movement is introduced, even when that movement is simple and gentle. One of the most effective ways to reawaken these muscles is through the controlled motion of a wall push-up. At first glance, it may seem almost too easy compared to the traditional push-ups people associate with intense workouts. Instead of lowering the body toward the floor, the hands are placed against a wall, and the body leans forward slightly. The arms bend slowly, bringing the chest closer to the wall, and then the body gently presses back to the starting position. Despite its simplicity, this movement activates a network of muscles that play a crucial role in maintaining upper body strength and joint health. The chest muscles engage to create the pushing force, while the shoulders stabilize the arms and guide the movement. The triceps, located at the back of the upper arms, contract to extend the elbows and return the body to its upright position. At the same time, the muscles of the upper back quietly assist in keeping the shoulder blades stable and properly aligned. This coordinated activity is important because the shoulder joint is one of the most mobile joints in the human body, capable of moving in many directions. That freedom of movement also makes it vulnerable to weakness and instability when the surrounding muscles are not well maintained. Another fascinating benefit of gentle pushing exercises is their influence on bone health. Bones are living tissues that constantly adapt to the mechanical forces placed upon them. when muscles contract and apply pressure to the bones during resistance movements. Tiny signals are sent through the skeletal system, encouraging the body to maintain bone density. Without these signals, bones may gradually lose some of their strength over time. Walking offers mild stimulation to the bones of the lower body, but movements involving the arms and shoulders provide valuable signals to the upper skeleton as well. The beauty of the wall push-up lies in its accessibility. It can be performed almost anywhere, requires no equipment, places minimal stress on the joints when done slowly and carefully. For individuals who may feel intimidated by traditional strength training, it offers a safe and welcoming entry point into upper body conditioning. With regular practice, the muscles of the chest, shoulders, and arms become more responsive, posture begins to feel more upright, and everyday tasks that require pushing or supporting the body start to feel noticeably easier and more controlled. There is a group of muscles in the human body that quietly carries an enormous responsibility for movement, posture, and stability, yet it is often neglected in everyday life. These are the gluteal muscles, located at the back of the hips. In earlier stages of life, they play a powerful role in walking, climbing, lifting, and maintaining an upright posture. They are among the largest and strongest muscles the body possesses. Yet modern habits have gradually reduced their activity. Long hours of sitting, driving, and working at desks allow these muscles to remain inactive for extended periods of time. Over the years, the brain begins to rely less on them, and other parts of the body attempt to compensate for their reduced involvement. When the gluteal muscles lose strength or responsiveness, the effects ripple through the entire structure of the body. The pelvis may begin to tilt slightly forward or backward. The lower back often absorbs extra strain while attempting to stabilize the spine. The hips can become tighter and less mobile. Even the simple act of walking may slowly change, becoming shorter in stride and less efficient. Many people begin to feel stiffness in the lower back or hips without realizing that the underlying cause is often the quiet weakening of these powerful muscles. One of the most gentle yet effective ways to restore communication with these muscles is the glute bridge. The movement itself appears deceptively simple. A person lies comfortably on the floor with the knees bent and feet resting flat on the ground. From this position, the hips slowly lift upward while the shoulders remain relaxed against the floor. The body forms a straight line from the knees to the shoulders for a brief moment before lowering again with control. Despite its simplicity, this movement awakens a chain of muscles that support the entire backside of the body. As the hips rise, the gluteal muscles activate to produce the lifting force. These muscles are designed to extend the hip joint, which is a key action in walking, climbing stairs, and standing upright. When they engage properly, they take pressure away from the lower back and distribute the workload more evenly across the body. At the same time, the muscles of the hamstrings and the deep stabilizers of the abdomen quietly assist in maintaining alignment and control. Inside the nervous system, an equally important process takes place. The brain begins to reconnect with muscles that may have been underused for years. This renewed communication strengthens neural pathways that control hip extension and pelvic stability. Over time, movements that once felt stiff or uncomfortable may begin to feel smoother and more coordinated. The body remembers how to recruit the correct muscles for support rather than relying on compensation patterns that place strain on the spine. Another remarkable benefit of strengthening the gluteal muscles is its effect on posture. Strong hips provide a stable foundation for the spine, allowing the upper body to remain balanced and upright with less effort. When these muscles are active, the pelvis stays in a more neutral position, reducing excessive curvature in the lower back and promoting a more natural alignment of the entire body. As this strength gradually returns, people often notice subtle but meaningful changes in daily life. Standing feels steadier. Walking becomes more fluid. Rising from a chair or climbing stairs requires less strain. The body begins to move with a sense of support that originates from the powerful muscles of the hips, quietly restoring stability and efficiency to movements that once felt ordinary but now carry deeper importance. When we look closely at how the human body ages, an interesting realization begins to emerge. The goal of movement after 50 is not intensity for its own sake, nor is it the pursuit of exhaustion or competition. The real objective is intelligent stimulation of the systems that keep the body capable, stable, and responsive. Muscles, bones, joints, and the nervous system all rely on signals created by movement. These signals tell the body how strong it needs to remain, how quickly it must react, and how efficiently it should coordinate the many parts working together. Without these signals, the body slowly adapts to inactivity. Strength fades quietly, balance becomes uncertain, and movements that once felt effortless begin to require more caution. Walking continues to hold great value because it nourishes the cardiovascular system and keeps the body in motion. The heart benefits from steady, rhythmic activity, and the lungs expand with each step. Circulation improves as blood carries oxygen and nutrients through the tissues. For mental well-being, walking can also be deeply calming, allowing the mind to settle into a peaceful rhythm. Yet from a biological perspective, walking alone stimulates only a limited portion of the body's full potential. The muscles that stabilize the hips, support the spine, protect the shoulders, and sharpen balance often receive very little challenge during simple forward movement. This is where thoughtful exercises begin to play a transformative role. When movements such as squats, balance stands, pushing motions, and hip bridges are introduced into daily life, the body receives a richer variety of signals. Each exercise awakens a different network of muscles and nerve pathways. The brain must pay attention to coordination. Joints move through their natural ranges. Muscles contract in ways that remind the body they are still essential for stability and strength. Even bones respond by maintaining their density when gentle resistance passes through them. One of the most fascinating aspects of the human body is its ability to adapt at almost any age. Scientific studies consistently show that muscle fibers remain capable of strengthening well into the later decades of life. Nerve pathways can refine their communication when challenged with balance and coordination tasks. Even posture can improve when the correct muscles are gradually reactivated. These changes do not require extreme effort. What they require most is consistency and awareness. A few minutes of intentional movement each day can gradually reshape how the body feels and functions. There is also a psychological dimension to this process that should not be overlooked. When individuals engage in movements that strengthen their bodies, they often regain a sense of trust in their physical abilities. Confidence grows not from pushing the body to its limits, but from discovering that it can still respond, adapt, and improve. The act of moving with intention becomes a quiet affirmation that the body is still capable of growth. This awareness can shift the entire experience of aging from one of decline to one of maintenance and renewal. With time, these small practices accumulate into meaningful change. Muscles become more responsive. Balance grows steadier. Movements feel smoother and more controlled. The body no longer relies solely on endurance from walking, but benefits from a balanced conversation between strength, coordination, and stability. Through this thoughtful approach to movement, the aging body receives exactly what it needs most: signals that encourage resilience, adaptability, and the preservation of independence in everyday life.